Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 11 of Built Not Bought, man. Episode 11 of Built Not Bought. So this episode, man, we're gonna talk about comfort. All right. So we'll talk about comfort, being too comfortable, and what happens when you get too comfortable. So on this subject, man, funny enough, these last couple of weeks, I've been combating. You guys already know what I was kind of going through a couple weeks ago, right? We talked about that. We talked about what I did to combat that. And comfort kind of played a part in that. Not really, not totally, but it did play a part in that of how I got to that point in the first place. When I was in that point, that wasn't comfort, but what led me to that point was me being comfortable. So just in general, right? When you get too comfortable, you lose your edge. Like, this is obvious, right? Like, you get too comfortable, you lose your edge, you slack on some of the small daily disciplines that got you to where you're at in the first place. And there's nothing wrong with taking your foot off the gas or relaxing a little bit, but you can't stay there for too long. When you stay there for too long and you allow that to become your norm, that's when you start moving backwards. And you only really even moving forwards and backwards. So for me personally, I'll just kind of tell you the way I operate. So I'm very much so a 100 or nothing type of person. I'm not like a 50, 60, 70, like, no. I'm 100 or nothing. So when it's time for me to break out of my comfort zone to grow, I like have to attack it very aggressively. And I'll come back to that to give you examples of things that I do to get myself out of the comfort zone. So why do you need to get out of your comfort zone? And what happens when you get out of your comfort zone? So when you get out of your comfort zone, you're putting yourself in an unfamiliar situation or unfamiliar territory. When you put yourself in unfamiliar territory, you are challenging yourself. You are making yourself do something new. You are making yourself do something that you're not accustomed to. Challenging yourself is always a good thing. You always want to be challenged because when you're challenged, you push yourself, you discover new things about yourself. And that is the only way that you can grow. If you don't challenge yourself, you'll never be able to grow. So by putting yourself in uncomfortable situations constantly, you are putting yourself in situations that will allow you the chance and the opportunity to grow constantly. The person who is always putting themselves in uncomfortable situations is the person that has always given themselves opportunities to grow. So that's why putting yourself in uncomfortable situations is important. And what happens when you do put yourself in uncomfortable situations? Now, obviously, it's not easy. That's what makes it uncomfortable in the first place, is the fact that, like, you're uncomfortable. That's what the word means. You don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be in uncomfortable situations. But putting yourself in those situations consciously, understanding that I'm not going to like this, but I am going to grow from this. That's how you have to think about that. You have to think about it from the aspect of, I'm not going to like this, but I'm going to grow from this, and there will eventually be rewards, and I will learn lessons from this. So, jumping in. I'm not going to take too long. I'm not going to take too long with it today. We're going to be real direct to the point. So, for me, for example, what uncomfortable positions did I just recently put myself into to force me to grow, lock in, and do what I need to do? I cut off all my subscriptions. I think maybe I have like one. So literally, like, I was carrying like $200 worth of subscriptions and services. I cut them all off. I don't even have Netflix right now. So I cut them all off. And I said, listen, man, right now, for the next, I didn't specify a certain amount of time, but I should have specified either 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But for now, I just said cut it off and I'll figure it out later. So for now, I am cutting off all of my services, all of my entertainment, all of this what's the word that I'm looking for? Quick dopamine entertainment. I'm cutting off. I mean, I still have my cell phone, but all of these TV shows, all of these subscriptions, I'm cutting them all off. Cut them all off. All right. So why did I do that? I did that because that was going to put me in an uncomfortable situation to where when I finish work, instead of me lounging around for an extra 30, 45 minutes, now I click on my TV. Oh, I don't got Netflix. Oh, I don't got this. I don't got Prime. I don't got Apple TV. I don't have any of this stuff now. So like now what do I do? Maybe I sit down for like 10, 15 minutes and okay, cool. Back to like doing music, back to doing this, back to doing that, back to being productive. Now, if I did not put myself in that uncomfortable situation and bore myself, then I would not be able to accomplish what I've already been able to accomplish. Another example, and there's other things that go along with this, but right, when I was doing, we won't even say when I was doing 75 hard. So when like dating was something that I really wanted to focus on, whenever I would like go grocery shopping, I don't know if this really is going to apply, but I'm gonna give you this example anyways. Whenever I would go grocery shopping, I would not dress up, but I would look presentable. I would look nice. I wouldn't just go on in like sweats or whatever. Like I would look nice. You know what I'm saying? Look clean, get cleaned up, shower. You know, feel me? Got my smell good on, got my cologne on. And every time I go to the grocery store, I have to talk to one person. I have to talk to one lady. Period. I have to, no matter what. It could be something stupid. How you doing? Blah 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 blah. Uncomfortable for me. That's uncomfortable. And lo and behold, got a date off that. So uncomfortable situations will put you in situations that force you to grow, that force you to do things that you normally wouldn't do. So it is very important if you're seeking growth and you're seeking ways to better yourself, to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and to make yourself do things that you would not normally do, because that is the only way that you can grow. Now, if you're not ambitious, if you're not wanting to do this, you're not wanting to do that, cool, stay comfortable, do whatever you want to do. But if you are trying to be an ambitious person, then just understand the fact of like you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations to be able to get to where you want to get to. Because if you did not have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations and grow, then everybody would be there. But the only way for you to get to somewhere where nobody else is you're going to have to do what nobody else wants to do, which means that you're going to have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations so that you can grow and figure out how you can get from point A to point B, since nobody else can figure out how to get from point A to point B. So just being used to being in uncomfortable situations is a skill in and of itself. And 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 honestly, one thing you have to understand is everybody who makes good money is somebody who has navigated uncomfortable situations. Because at a certain point of money that you make, everything you do is an uncomfortable situation. And that's why you're making more money. There's the more money you make, the more responsibility you have, the more uncomfortable situations you're going to be put into, period. That's just how that works. The more money you make, the harder it typically gets, or the more uncomfortable situations you had to be in to get to that point. So just understand, like with anything you do and any goal you want to hit, to get to the top, to get to the peak, to get to a high level, there is always some level of putting yourself into uncomfortable situations depending on where you start from. Getting into physical shape. When you are out of shape and you are fat, you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. You have to go to the gym when you've never lifted weights before. You have to be okay looking stupid. You have to be okay getting on YouTube and looking up exercises. You have to be okay maybe even asking somebody to help you do this. These are all things that if your end goal is getting in shape, the faster that you get through all of these uncomfortable situations is the faster that you're going to get to your end goal. And this applies to anything and everything. The faster that you can go through all of these uncomfortable situations is the faster that you're going to grow. If I go to the gym and because I'm uncomfortable, I don't figure out and ask somebody what's the proper form or what's the proper this or what's the proper that, and my buddy is okay with asking the person every single day he goes to the gym, hey, what's the right way to do this? What's the right way to do that? What's the right way to do this? By the time he's gone to the gym for 2 weeks, he's going to know more than if I had gone to the gym for 2 months. just because he was okay with putting himself in uncomfortable situations and doing uncomfortable things. So it makes a huge difference. And it's something that you like have to be okay with doing. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to grow the way you want to grow. Right. So there's huge value in being able to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. There's huge value in being okay and navigating through those unknown environments, navigating through the unknown. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, once again, I said like this was going to be a quick episode. This is really going to be a quick episode. I'm not going to talk too much more. That's really all I wanted to share with you guys is just navigating through that. Give you a real world example of where I've done it and why it's important. So, all right, guys, man, that's all I got for episode 11 for Built Not Bought. Appreciate you guys all tuning in, and stay tuned for more.